So let's start with some international news first, where Catalan leaders have said that they will reject any attempt by Madrid to impose direct rule on the autonomous region. More than 500 people have gathered in Madrid to show support to Catalonia, and the protesters carried banners and chanted slogans against the government in Madrid, accusing them of carrying out a coup. The president of Italy's Lombardy region has said that an overwhelming 95% of the votes backed more powers and tax revenues from the national government. Lombardy and Veneto want semi-autonomy in order to gain more control over their franchises and administration. Although legally non-binding, the referendum by the two regions are consultative in nature, but the exercise is being seen as the latest push by European regions to take power from the central government, whether it was Scotland in 2014, Brexit last year and Catalonia in September. Thousands gathered in the Swedish capital of Stockholm to voice their support for victims of sexual abuse and the Me Too social media campaign to raise awareness about sexual harassment and the abuse. The Swedish Minister for Children, the Elderly and Gender Equality, Asa Regner, addressed a crowd in the city calling on people to support gender equality and not belittle it. The protest was one of around a dozen across the country, and that was brought together through social media. The US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson had said that Saudi Arabia is not yet ready to begin direct talks with Doha to resolve the nearly 5-month isolation of Qatar. Tillerson had sought to end the dispute, which started in June when a Saudi-led bloc of founding countries had imposed economic restrictions against Qatar over its alleged support to terrorism. Tillerson, who is on a multi-country tour, will be arriving in Doha in the next leg. The Slovenian President Borut Pahor will face a second-round election in November after he fell short of a majority of the vote in the first round. According to the state elections, Pahor has won only 47.1% of votes, which have been counted. The next round-off will take place on the 12th, where the incumbent president will face Mirjan Serek. Pahor is trying to win a 5-year mandate. The Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has urged the citizens to maintain peace during and after the elections. The country is holding a rerun on the 26th of October after the Supreme Court threw out the result on the 8th of August. The election was won by the incumbent Kenyatta. Fear of violence and uncertainty mounts in the country as the opposition has boycotted the elections. The volatile build-up to the polling has revived memories for Kenyans of the ethnically charged violence that had killed more than 1,200 people after a disputed election in 2007, when opposition leader Odinga also lost and disputed the result. And voting takes place for Argentina's midterm legislative elections. The polls are a crucial test for President Mauricio Macri's controversial reforms. But as voters cast their ballot, the case of a killed human rights activist has shadowed the election. Now, passions were high about indigenous rights activist Santiago Maldonado, whose body was discovered in a Patagonian river last week after he went missing nearly 3 months during a tribal land rights protest. The Maldonado's family members and anti-government demonstrators have said that they suspect the state security forces to be responsible for his death. Britain was sentenced to 3 months in prison by a Dubai court for inappropriately touching a man at a bar. 27-year-old Jamie Harron from Scotland was arrested for allegedly touching the behind of a German expatriate who reported him to the police. Now, Harron has, however, denied the allegations that he ever touched inappropriately. The Indonesian Armed Forces chief was denied entry into the US General Gatot Nurmantio was about to board a flight when the airline informed him that American authorities have denied him entry. He was going to the United States at the invitation of General Joseph Dunford, chairman of the US Joint Chiefs of Staff. General Nurmiato was scheduled to take part in an event that was organized by Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington. The Indonesian government has sought an explanation from the United States. US President Donald Trump has said that he does not need European nations to condemn Iran in order for him to continue with the sanctions against the country. Trump has said that he has asked the European leaders to continue making money from Iran and not worry about the sanctions. The former American TV host Bill O'Reilly has dismissed reports that claimed that 21st Century Fox had signed a contract with O'Reilly just months after he reached a $32 million sexual harassment settlement with long-term analyst at his show. Russia accused the US-led coalition in Syria of wiping the city of Raqqa off the face of the earth with carpet bombing. In the same way, the United States and Britain had bombed Germany's Dresden in 1945. The Russian Defense Ministry has said that the West was now rushing to provide financial aid to Raqqa to cover up evidence of its own crimes, that the US-backed forces in Syria had declared victory over the Islamic State in Raqqa. Delegates to the 19th National Congress of the Communist Party of China have highlighted the idea of fostering the spirit of craftsmanship. The Chinese government will also promote vocational education. Officials during a press briefing have stressed on the importance of the construction of educators, morals and professional ethics. The British police have ended an armed hostage siege on Sunday after a gunman had taken 2 people hostage in Nuneaton in central England. The gunman had taken the staff members at a bowling alley in a leisure complex hostage. Though the investigation is going on, the police have ruled out connection with any kind of terror-related activity. A teenager was arrested after several people were attacked and wounded with an axe in northeastern Switzerland. The accused is said to be a Latvian national, and the police believe that the suspect attacking the people and then fled in a stolen car. He continued on foot before attacking more people at a gas station where he was eventually arrested. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny addressed hundreds of his supporters in the southern city of Astrakhan after his release from a nearly 3-week jail detention. Navalny was detained by the police in late September and sentenced to 20 days in prison on charges of repeatedly violating laws by organizing public meetings and rallies. After he was released from the jail, Navalny said that he's politically motivated to run for the 2018 presidential elections. Up to 46 people have died due to swine flu in a hospital in India's Hyderabad city in the past 10 months, while 233 cases have turned out to be positive during the same period. But the government-owned Gandhi General Hospital has received 7 such cases during this month alone. The Gandhi General Hospital Deputy Superintendent Dr. G. Narasimha Rao said that the patients were being kept in a separate ward and treated by specialists. Now, incessant rains over the last 2 days in India's eastern West Bengal state have caused a river to swell and inundate Midnapur district, where several people have left their homes for makeshift shelters. Now, the Silaboti River repeatedly was flowing above the danger mark on Sunday. That has caused a deluge in various blocks of the district. The depression has formed over the Bay of Bengal Sea, which is causing the heavy downpour in eastern India. Now, the elaborate change of guards ceremony was organized in New Delhi in the confines of the Rashtrapati Bhavan or President's estate. Hordes of mounted bodyguards of the Indian President Ram Nath Kovind graced the occasion. Earlier, the change of guard ceremony used to take place on Saturdays. However, it has now been shifted to Sundays so that the public can enjoy the presidential tradition. Now, the President's bodyguards was first raised in 1773 and is considered the senior-most regiment of the Indian Army. A major train accident was averted on the Howrah-New Delhi route in Burdwan district of West Bengal due to the alertness of a local resident. According to reports, the man, upon noticing loose fish plates which meant to keep the rail tracks intact, waved a red cloth so as to alert the driver of the approaching train and other railway officials present there. But the driver of the approaching train sensed trouble after noticing a man waving the red flag and applied brakes to halt the train. A deputy superintendent of police was thrashed by an angry mob after he rammed his vehicle into roadside vendors, injuring 2 people in Gwalior area of Madhya Pradesh. According to reports, the police officer was drunk when he ran over the people, and the officer was paraded in torn clothes with shoes on his head.